Athletes and fans around the world, welcome to another episode of Primetime Muscle. I'm Tim Wilkins, joined by these two guys right here. Who do I introduce? Chris, the real deal
I think
Cormier.
you should go with me first when I'm wearing the original Gucci. I know you guys probably can't see it unless you close in on me. When I got the black on black Gucci sweatshirt. I don't wear this in the gym, people. This is definitely streetwear or going out in the evenings. You know, I started wearing some swagger. It is a hoodie though, but enough about me.
Derek, I'll get to you talk about Chris.
I think that thing that he's wearing looks like a bathroom towel at a brothel in Panama, to be honest. You know, that's what I think.
That's pretty good. I'll take that.
It must be a nice brothel.
You know, I'm sure they have fancy ones, and that would be a modernistic towel.
You don't like the big G's in it, the velvet, crushed velvet?
I gotta be honest, Chris. I'm a big fan of the Versace shirt. Okay. You know what I mean? The Versace shirt, I think you look smoking. When you come in with a bathroom towel from a brothel in Panama, you look like Suge Knight coming out to see the judge.
So I gotta ask, Chris. I gotta ask because I'm the guy with the hoodie from Fruit of the Loom.
No, don't do it. Don't do it.
I was about to ask.
Don't do it.
Does it have a comma? Does the price have a?
For sure.
The hoodie has a comma.
For sure.
All right, guys, let's get down to business. Let's talk about some muscle. So, guys, I'm sure you all deal with this, and it's got to be tough for you. You know, being one of the OGs and OGGs of this business.
That's right.
Someone who 21 times Olympia, Arnold. You've done all the biggest shows in that top 5, top 2, and then people go, "You're in bodybuilding? Do you know Cbum?"
Right, because that's the end all, be all. That's it. You know, that's if you know that name, then you know you're synonymous with the sport of bodybuilding.
I got kids left and right in the gym coming up to me when they find out, oh, you're with the Olympia, you're with the IFBB Professional League. You probably know Chris Bumstead.
Chris Bumstead has broken many barriers. I'm not afraid to say it. Put the camera right here. Chris Bumstead is the Arnold Schwarzenegger of our generation. He's broken many barriers. I know people that know nothing about bodybuilding and they know who Cbum is. I give him a lot of credit. He's not only a phenomenal competitor, he's also extremely charismatic. We don't know how long he's going to be competing, but my friend, enjoy, because this guy is a riot.
Well, that is the first question that we're about to ask, how long he's going to be competing, but I got a real quick story. When the Olympia was in Orlando last year, and I was at my hometown Whole Foods trying to get some fish, he had just been there for the Olympia, and the lady who was selling the fish was so excited. She said, "You're a bodybuilder. You know who was in here yesterday? Chris Bumstead." It's an awesome world. So we talk about his reign and his dominance, which he's got 5 Classic Physique Olympias. He's the gold standard for Classic Physique. Is he done? Is this the time that Chris goes, you know what, 5's enough?
Well, I don't know if he's done this year or the next year, but I think he's planning to be done for sure. I mean, I could see it. His whole demeanor, his whole, you know, when you answer questions about it, he's leaning towards the finish line, and it's great. I mean, he's done all he needed to do, and you know, the ultimate goal for some is to become very successful, put their stamp on the sport, make enough money for the future, and able to retire. I think he just checked all of those boxes, so that's why I think it's pretty clear to see.
Tarek, he's got a baby on the way. Has he made enough? Is he done?
So I've had a chance to have many conversations with Chris in private, and he's a different guy. You know, he does not go with what people want him to do. If he feels like he needs to retire, he will. He said it publicly. He doesn't foresee himself doing this over 30. Now, one time he said, Tarek, you know, if I crushed 5 Olympias, I would be cool with it. I don't need to crush 10, 15. If I crushed 5 Olympias, I would be cool with it. You got to look at his career. And I think one time I asked him, what was the most significant victory for you? And I thought it was the first one or maybe the third one, and he said it was the second one. He felt like the second one was the one that he enjoyed the most. That's when you kind of start cementing your legacy, right? I just didn't win one. I'm going for a second one.
Why do you think it was the second one?
I think people, some people said, you know, it was really close between you and Breon. Maybe Breon beat you and this and that. And then on the second one, he comes in and shuts the door. Jay Cutler has that same feeling because in 2007, there was a controversy between him and Victor Martinez. And if you ask him which one was the most significant one, Jay would say, 2009, I shut the door and there was no questions. Now, I think his best performance was 2022. 2022, when he came in and opened that back double, front double biceps, I said, wow, I don't even think Ramon and Urs came close to him. But his most formidable win was last year. Why? Because he said himself, I woke up that morning and I didn't see the separation I'm used to seeing on my physique. After he won, he said he pulled his back, right? How good is this guy that he's not at his best and he can still beat Ramon, Urs, and Breon? Sometimes it's not about you being at your best. Sometimes it's you beating everybody not at your best. And that's what he did.
Yeah, that's a pretty incredible feat to have, you know, training through an injury to a championship and actually winning that championship. That's you feel a lot inside, you know, about yourself. And you also feel like, hey, you know, just, you know, next year I can even shut the door again on these guys, and maybe, just maybe, I can compile another 1 or 2 championships more.
Well, to quote what Chris actually said in this year's prep, so he wins that title, Bob Ciccarello walks over and gives that first question. He said, well, Chris, how was this prep? He said, Bob, it sucked. This year sucked. And yet, here he is.
Well, the thing is, everybody expects him to win. He's the reigning champion. So he needs to deliver. He needs to win. The pressure, the scrutiny. I think Derek Lunsford is now feeling it. And if you win 4, 5, 6, it's huge pressure. And then, you know, you get injured 1 month before. So if you look at Chris Bumstead's physique, from the time he turned pro at the North Americans, what's the most amazing thing is that this guy has this tiny little waist and he has these huge clavicle bones, and then he's got the quads. His weakness was his back, right? That's where Breon beat him in the first years. But right now, he's as complete as it gets. And he wasn't as conditioned as he was in 2022, but his physique is so majestic that he still won. Man, we're talking about people like Phil Heath, Ronnie Coleman, you know, Linda Murray. You're not at your best, and you're so good that you still win.
I had Breon, by the way, last year. I had Breon no lower than third. I thought he was a lot better than he was given credit for. But I wonder, and when we talk about what he still has left in the tank, some of the the shorter guys got 7 pounds to play with last year with the new rules. Chris got 3, and he already only had 4 pounds topped out that he could go up. He was already topping out the class. Where can he improve? You can't put on much more mass than that in any one place without tripping over the top.
Yeah, well, he could still improve in the back, Tim. That's, you know, luckily for him, he's set up this way genetically. You can see how the rib cage is perfectly in place for these poses. The vacuum pose, the front double, you know, really sinking that waist in small. His body is set up. The frame is perfectly in place for this class. I would say if you can add some more mass on that back, which is, he has a wide frame, so it's a lot harder than some of the guys that are smaller with the shorter clavicle bones to make this more complete, more depth, as you will, 3D look. I think that is the one thing, and I do like how he's turning his head. He's involving those middle trapezius. He does, you know, tend to lean back in the teres major area. or he actually contracts there a little bit more so than he did in the years past. But yeah, the frame is there. You see in a 3/4 back shot, he has a little bit of loose skin on the lower lat area and upper hip area, and that area right there is probably where he was injured. But there is a film of water, sort of like my calf, because I tore my calf. If you guys didn't hear, a few days ago. And I still got a lot of water in my leg. That's probably what he's going through.
That didn't make it to the news, Chris. Okay. That didn't come on the internet.
You didn't hear about it?
You torn your calf.
I thought they were talking about it.
That relevant, okay?
I heard
the big scheme of things.
It's hard to get on Flex Magazine,
Okay,
Flex Instagram.
For everybody that's watching the show, Chris Cormier, at 68 years old, torn his calf, okay? Such a relevant moment in our lives.
So, and for what it's worth, Chris tore his, Chris Bumstead damaged that back doing, I think, lower mid rows. Chris did his slipping on the floor going to the tub.
Yeah,
so,
the same type of intensity.
Same intensity was that low intensity soft.
And it hurt.
Yeah.
Let's go back to a more relevant Chris. Chris Bumstead, and Cormier is right. He was tighter here. He was tighter here in 2022. But and that's what I said. The large clavicle bones on the frontal biceps and in the back double biceps, they are the nemesis of Ramon Dino. Ramon Dino has better arms than Chris Bumstead. His conditioning was even tighter than Chris. But the structure, right, is a killer. This man with a nice, handsome smile, he is a pure assassin when he hits this pose.
Well, guys, if Chris should decide that that's enough, he's managing, he's got all kinds of supplement lines, he's got stuff going on. If he says, you know what, I got things I can manage now, I'll be home with my better half and my new baby. I'm telling you, Ramon is not the heir apparent. Ramon has been number 2, but I think Terrence Ruffin and Breon and Urs can all move up there, and Mike Sommerfeld, there are guys that can go chomping for that number 1 spot.
Didn't Sommerfeld go to the Open now? Did he not? I'm
not quite sure. I just love the fact that you don't think Ramon is the heir apparent. I'll translate that in Portuguese for all the Brazilians.
But Ramon, aren't they doing some kind of collaboration, him and Chris?
He's managing him.
So here's the deal, okay? I have some inside information. I don't want everybody to know about it, but I have some inside information.
Sure you do.
Okay, should I release it right now? Let me look at Nico.
Let's do it.
Are you ready for some breaking news?
My papa, get it ready. Get the video ready, my papa.
So, Chris Bumstead went to Brazil in January, and his company, which is called Raw Nutrition,
in hopes of,
he is the owner of Raw Nutrition. There's rumors and speculations that Raw Nutrition is going to Brazil and starting their operation in Brazil, selling supplements there, and that they were probably prospecting some Brazilian competitors. And obviously, Ramon Dino is one of the Brazilian competitors. So people are speculating, is Chris going to Brazil, starting the supplement company in Brazil, getting Ramon on his side and passing the torch, saying, hey, I'm retiring with 5, you come to my company and you're the heir apparent for the title. All speculation, but the man was in Brazil. That's a fact.
Allegedly.
And he was in Brazil training with Ramon.
All right.
So we don't know what's going to happen.
Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly, speculation, rumors.
But nobody heard that.
Allegedly.
So we'll see if he goes for number 6. We'll see what he does with Raw Nutrition in Brazil. And when we come back, we'll be talking about the Arnold Classic lineup and who we think has got the shot at that very prestigious title. Right when we come back on Primetime Muscle.
People always ask how I got here. I was willing to work just a little harder than everyone else. Every damn day. If I can have hundreds of hours back, you know I'm gonna grab them. Spending hours prepping chicken, rice, and vegetables, F that. I rely on perfect nutrition. I rely on Trifecta.
All right, we are talking now about the Arnold Classic, and one of the great things about bodybuilding as a sport is much like NASCAR, it kicks off the season with one of their big shows, big shows, the Arnold Classic, and it's kind of a precursor. A lot of times, the guy who wins that is really regarded as one of the favorites going into the Olympia. Fair to say?
Absolutely correct. The current champion is Samson Dauda. He had placed 6th at the Olympia the previous year, moved up to 3rd place. So it is an indicator that the guy that wins the Arnold is a big contender.
Now, guys, I'm going to run through these names. Now, Samson Dauda is coming in to defend that title and take home that potentially huge Arnold Classic check. You got Akeem Williams.
Big Akeem Williams. He's been to the first call out at the Olympia, placed 6th. We've been waiting for Akeem to deliver that physique again.
We also have a guy named Hadi Chupon.
Well, we got Hadi Chupon. Now, Akeem Williams, as we talk about Akeem, we're still waiting for that conditioning because he has the mass to win.
Yes, and he had, I think he took some time off, had a surgery, I believe. So he's coming back from that. So, you know, it's probably going to be a different look than what we've seen in the past. I'm sure he'll be a little on the leaner side, but I'm expecting a different look from what we've probably ever seen before for him.
Antoine Vaillant.
Former California state champion. He also won the Chicago Pro. Good competitor, brings great energy on stage. Does he have the density on the side poses to go against the big boys? We are going to see it.
Yeah, this show is going to tell us a lot. Does he belong in the upper echelon of the sport? Will he remain around the same as what judges feel his physique can handle or can accomplish over these other guys or not? It's going to be a telltale sign right here.
All right, you mentioned this guy, I guess, is from New York, Justin Rodriguez.
He's looking a lot bigger than what he has in the past. He had a condition problem at sometimes lack of separation. He's always had the muscle. It's just bringing it on the stage at that particular time when the prejudging starts and when the prejudging finishes.
I judged Justin Rodriguez at the Legion Sports Festival in 2023. He placed 3rd. Huge, massive. Could have been tighter, needs to control the abdominal section. What people don't know is Justin Rodriguez, when he turned pro as a super heavy at the North Americans, he won the overall. Guess who was the heavyweight champion?
Chris Bumstead.
Chris Bumstead.
Oh, wow.
Boo!
All right.
Bring it back.
All right. Let's see who's next.
Bring it back.
Let's see who's next. Who's next? James Hollingshead.
James Hollingshead, judged him in 2019. He placed 3rd behind Samson Dauda and Nathan Diasha. He won a show in Europe, convincingly beating Rafael Brandão, outmassed Rafael Brandão. He has a girth, a thickness that a lot of these guys don't have, and if he presents good conditioning, he could very well be on that first call out.
But Chris, I got to ask, as I look at these update pictures, does he run the risk of this thickness of getting blocky?
No, I think because he don't have the large clavicle bones, as my comrade like to bring up every episode. But I think if he can just take the physique he has, he's improved the abs area, he improved the definition all over his body. You could actually see the definition of the anatomy chart all developed head to toe. So I think you might see a great placing for him.
I see Tarek swallowing a response. You want to spit it out or you want to move on?
No, let's talk about somebody Sartora's muscle. Jackass.
All right. Well, before we move on to the repeat of the Terrace Minor and Major. All right. Mohammed Shaban El Mbabi.
He won in 2023. He won the Toronto Super Show. No, actually 2022, he won the Toronto Super Show after placing 2nd at the Cow to Charles Griffin. His 2023 was not as effective. I saw him at the LA Fit Expo, and he said, Tarek, I will be on the first call out.
Yeah, he's working with Chris Lewis over there at the Body Shop. And, you know, shout out to those guys. He's training with Charles in Venice, Chris in Redondo Beach there. And, I mean, he's training hard. I give him that. That's going to bring a different conditioning and a different shape to the muscles from your pure effort and getting pushed like that. I don't think he's been pushed like he has this year. And with the pose and everything, you're going to see a different guy out there.
All right, another guy that's taken a little bit of time off and has made some nice improvements, John De La Rosa.
2011 USA champion, won his pro card as a heavyweight. So we're talking about 10 years already as a pro. Won the show in Puerto Rico a few years back. In my opinion, was his best. This is do or die for De La Rosa. If he's at his best, he should be on that first call out. If he's not at his best, then a lot of people are going to be speculating maybe the best that De La Rosa has been in the past.
Yeah, he just got married. I think he's really at peace in his personal life. That's one of the things you got to have in place if you want to be your absolute best up there. And putting in the hard work, got his gym, he got everything going for himself. I think he's gonna do a great showing here.
I don't know, Chris. Sometimes it's a fine line between being at really peace and just being full of hunger and hate. And I don't know where I lean on that one because I've had better years. All right, Horse MD. We've talked about him a lot. And how does he stack up against this group of guys?
He has the mass. He has the conditioning. Some great poses, some poses that might be compromised. If he's on the first call out, this guy is the real deal. If he falls to the second call out, a lot of the hype is going to get away from him.
Yes, but he has the physique. I love the tight waist he has. I think that's one of his strong points. I just want to see him keep all the muscles in balance. Don't show a lot of imbalances, if you will. And just bring everything, all the definition of the abs, the quads, everything looks great on this guy. I'm just looking to see him fighting for that top 3 and 4 placing right there, I think.
All right, Rafael Brandon.
Andrew Jacked is not there.
No Andrew Jacked.
A lot of people speculating he could be 3rd place at this show. He has beaten Samson Dauda. This is the most important show in Rafael Brandon's career. Make it to the first call out, pose next to the big guys at the Olympia, and get yourself out of the second pack and get yourself into the first pack at this show.
So Samson's in it, but this is the big one right here. So we go back to happy and secure, hungry and hateful. Hadi Chupan. You talk about the women don't like to lose. I haven't seen a woman in a long time walk off stage during the pictures and photo ops. Hadi, if anybody wants it, I've seen the update pictures too.
Hey, did you see the video he put out? Don't talk about me. Don't talk about me.
Wow.
Did you see that?
That was intense.
Can we actually get on the post editing? Can we actually get the proper video of Hadi doing that? Because I feel he's been misrepresented in an awful manner.
Don't talk about me.
Okay.
So, the update pictures are just wicked. Hadi, of course, 2-time Mr. Olympia and a very
one-time Mr.
Olympia, a very contested battle with Derek, and Samson was 3rd. So now you've got this stacked lineup with these guys in it. Where's the battle for first? It's obviously these two guys.
Tim, something is about to break. There's no other way here. If Hadi wins this show, he clearly puts a distance between him, Derek Lunsford, and Samson. He says, Samson, you're a pretty guy, but you're not going to play ball with me and Derek. I'm going to take my title from Derek, okay? If Samson beats Hadi, he sends a clear message to Hadi. You took 2nd at the Olympia, now you take 2nd to me here, you're done. Go celebrate retirement. I'm the guy who's going to challenge Derek Lunsford. So messages are going to be sent. Whoever wins has tremendous momentum, and whoever loses a lot of momentum.
That is a very fair assessment, Chris.
Yeah, this competition is very pressurized because you cannot lose. You got two people who cannot lose this show. And when you have that, you're going to have a great showing. And, you know, the more of the pressure is going to be on Hadi. But, you know, at the same time, you know, Brandon, he beat Samson before. He shows some improvement. He's probably saying to himself, he needs to beat him also. He's got to beat Samson also. How do you feel in the same way?
The guy we mentioned will not be in the Arnold Classic, Andrew Jacked. We're going to talk about him and his strategy for the future when we come back. So many fun names coming up in the sport the last few years. We've had Blessing. We now have Nexzilla. But one of the favorites the last couple of years, Andrew Jacked, Chinedu Obieka, Nigerian superstar. He so many people just love that guy. He came out at the press conference 2 years ago before the Olympia, and I went, whoa.
Can I have a request here?
Yes.
After Chris Cormier impersonation of Hadi, you pronounce his name so beautifully. Look at the camera and do that one more time.
Chinedu Obieka, Andrew Jacked from Nigeria, 39-year-old bodybuilder. You know that's what I do, right? I mean, we've known each other, what, 10, 15 years.
No, people in the audience know, Tim. You're the professional, and no. And Chris and I just parachuted here. You don't have to be a genius.
No, I've been emceeing these names for 25 years, and they throw
People are wondering, this guy in the middle must get paid a lot more money than those guys.
Well, last year at the Olympia Amateur, I had 4 names with more than 24 letters, and not just the last name, and 10 names with more than 20. That's a lot of letters. That's a Scrabble board just dumped into the box.
We need to do a trivia between myself and Chris Cormier at pronouncing some of these names.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Nico, what do you think of trivia? Chris Cormier versus Tarek El Guindi pronouncing difficult bodybuilding names.
Of course, you're coming from different backgrounds and language. You got a whole nother language that you speak that I don't speak. Of course you're going to win. That's like me going against you on PlayStation 5, you know, Call of Duty. It's the same thing. You're just going to be at a disadvantage.
I thought he was going to say, that's like me going against you in accounting, you know, political science. He goes, PlayStation 5.
Well, I'm just saying, this is what I do. I do math.
He's better than me at Lego too, okay?
All right. I'm going to reel this back in. That's what I do. Guys, so Andrew Jacked, Chinedu Obieka, he's had a fun rise the last couple of years since he made his way to the IFBB Professional League. But it begs the question, what is his future at 39 and what should his strategy be?
Well, I know you're going to answer, but it's my turn because someone that actually knows what he's talking about is what he's asking for. That is me. He's been coming on strong. Once he started competing, he did so many shows in 1 year. Nowadays, it's called so many shows. I was doing like 10 in a year. And a lot of times when you compete so much, it's hard to progress. Even though he showed some signs of getting better in some of these shows, sometimes harder, sometimes you saw a little bit of a comeback and a little bit softer, if you will, at the Olympia this year. But he was always needing a good off season, and he's always talking about needing and having wanting a good off season, but he never took that off season time. So I think it just all caught up to him in the end, getting ready for this, trying to get ready for this Arnold Classic. It's probably almost like biting off more than you can chew. And you know, your eyes are big, you know, see that $300,000 you can win, and you want it, but the best thing you should do is probably take that time and gather yourself, build the muscle quality, and you know, keep thickening up the legs and the different body parts that you need to improve. Go.
Guys, I hate to inform, but I agree 100% with Chris Cormier. This is a sad day for America. Chris is right. He did a lot of shows. We all loved his physique. We all loved the lines and everything, but we didn't see that substantial progress. So I think this time off is going to be good for him. I'd like to see him come in bigger because he has the beautiful lines. His conditioning at the Arnold, the previous Arnold was excellent, right? But we're still missing density. I'm not saying he's not big. What I mean density, especially on the side poses. You know, that's where
Quality
guys,
of the muscle, guys.
guys like Derek Lunsford, Hadi Choopan on the side poses, they have that density that even gets Samson Dauda and it exposes Andrew Jack even more.
Well, now it begs the question, though, and I fully appreciate the thought of a quality off-season, building that density, building, like you say, the density of those striations across the side. You'll see it in the shoulders as well. But when the clock is ticking, the guy you're posing up against more than Samson Dauda and Hadi Choopan is Father Time. At 39, do you have a year and a half for an off-season?
See, that's the thing. You never know how Father Time is going to strike. But what he have shown in this little short time of his small, short body of work is that he has the the ultra striations coming up from the lower pectorals. He has he can display striations throughout the chest. He can display cuts that are only someone else like Hadi Choopan can duplicate when it comes to hardness in this area. He has that down more than anybody. But if you don't show it in some category, sometimes you're going to show, you don't show that same quality, the judge is going to see that and probably going to mark you down for not having it.
Well, let's look what he's working with now. You are so right. When you're looking, those are some thick lats on a front double bi, veiny, good waist. We've talked about him being one of the aesthetic guys, but he carries a lot of mass.
Yes.
He does, but for his height, he needs more back. If he gets his back coming down, just like Andrea Shaw, lower insertions, then he becomes more dense. When he's posing next to guys like Derek Lunsford, whose insertions come real low, he looks streamlined. That's where he needs his off-season. Get a little bit wider from the lower insertions to make his body denser.
I agree there, Tarek. And if you see, there's a lot of space from this top of his quad to the bottom of this calf. And with that height, is this something you can fix? That's something he's going to have to let us know. That if you can make more mass on the legs, each quad I would like to see the more density throughout the hamstrings and the quads to match the density of the upper body. And, of course, we already know the back is where you're going to need some more work also. He does have a great package when he presents it, a good showman on the stage. So it's just going to be, it's going to tell you a lot this off season and bringing in more quality size.
As we walk through these poses, this side chest, you do see some nice density up top, but it could be a little better conditioned. He could be at 6'2", he could be sitting on this quad a lot, sitting on that hamstring. He could use a little more sweep to the ham, and sitting down on that may give him a little more shape and hide some of that. When you stand up tall, when you're that big, stuff just disappears. You got to come down.
Yeah, precisely. And throughout the lower trapezius here, that middle back, all that stuff, we need all the density through there. He's kind of sharp through this area also, but still I would like a little bit more definition through the hamstrings, and I think that's where someplace where he can improve and get to that next step where he wants to go.
I'm going to go right here to this picture because I think this is one of the pictures where he needs to improve the most. We were just talking about Horace MD, right? Horace MD with those hanging hamstrings.
Oh, yeah.
We were just talking about Rubiel Mosquera with that huge leg, right? Who is he going to be facing at the Arnold if he was to be competing? Samson Dauda, Hadi Choopan. So right here, he would be exposed. We need more hamstrings. That's a lot of space to cover because he's a tall guy. Looking on top, the arms need to be bigger. The chest needs to be fuller. A little bit more shoulders. He's looking a bit streamlined here. We need more top sirloin on these beautiful lines. The biggest nemesis for Andrew Jacked is Samson Dauda, because he's a similar guy with beautiful lines, but he's got the mass.
That is a tough spot to be. He does, I remember him last year and then again this year, the width of the clavicles, as you talk about, carries so much from the caps of those two huge shoulders. There's so much beautiful mass across the top, but it could be grainier and more striated. Correct, Chris?
Yes, for sure. And just filling out this frame, the way you're utilizing your poses, I know he likes to do the splits and everything. I'm not a huge fan of it. I know he's super flexible and that's all cool, but if you stretch your body out when you're 6'2" on a stage, when you're trying to look thicker, I don't know if that sends the same message. That's just me.
I had a posing coach at one point say, hey, at 6'1", keep your legs together. They'll think you have one big leg and not two skinny legs.
That's right.
No matter how big your legs are, at this height, when you're going up against guys from Nexzilla to Hadi to Derek, being that size and having the legs just bow out at the waist like that, you got to do something to minimize the length.
And like you were saying, Tim, if you just sat on it a little bit more, right? Set on it a little bit more, the hamstrings come down. It gives the illusion they have more density. But if you're all the way here, right? If you're all the way here, then you are going to be exposed. If he poses next to Nick Walker on a side chest, it's going to be a problem. He decided to take off the Arnold Classic Ohio and the Arnold UK. My advice would be, hey man, have a great off season. Come back to one of the final shows.
Texas Pro, Tampa, Chicago maybe.
Yeah. Win that qualification and go back to the Olympia. Is his physique possibly with one of the highest potentials? Absolutely. If this guy gains 40 pounds of muscle and he's got a back like Joe Stubbs, it's game over, okay? He's like an alien among all of us. But right now we're missing top sirloin.
Well, that sounds like a great strategy for him if he was watching. Andrew, take those 4 or 5 months, grow, start your cut May-ish, maybe June, and take that up into July, August, September. Hit one of those last few shows before qualifying for this year's October Olympia. Maybe 5 to 8 really quality pounds would make a huge difference and be able to dial it in a little tighter.
Yes, and he does have, he can have some really etched out muscle that everyone loves to see, that side tricep pose that he's not supposed to do, but he does, but he's not supposed to do it. That shot is excellent on him. He can move and he can, for a big guy, he can really move on stage, really gets to the crowd. And
electrifies the crowd.
Yeah, contacts with the crowd is great. So just keep doing what you're doing, man. Show some improvement and come back strong.
I like when guys compete, but I think this is one guy that I'm happy he's going to take some time off. I think we are going to see a different Andrew Jacked, and we're not going to regret the fact that he took this time off.
Well, we shall see. We're really looking forward to the outcome of this year's Arnold Classic and all of it as it leads its way towards this year's 60th Olympia. Guys, it goes by so fast. So fast. We were just leaving Orlando just a couple of weeks ago. It does, and then we start the show and it's over. Derek Gilgindi, the real deal, the one and only Gucci Man. That's what's up. Chris Cormier. Tim Wilkins, as always, like, share, subscribe, and tell your friends about the one and only show that covers all the divisions of the sport of bodybuilding. We look forward to seeing you on the next Primetime Muscle.